What's up, everybody? Hey, LTC Perosi, how are you? Damien, great to have you. One Change, Tehran Simonian, if I'm saying that right, great to have you. Douglas Marquise, Adam Sprout, Top Talk, what is that? Eric Walker, Joe M. Luffy, KD, Rob Russo, Joe M, Shazbot19, Jayhawk. How you guys doing? Great to have you. Lots to talk about. Hit the like button on the way in, guys. Appreciate it. Crypto Knight. Crypto Knight says, "What up, Tony? My sister and her family live on Fifth Avenue across from Central Park. She said everyone vacated the building and headed upstate." Yeah, Crypto Knight. I don't blame them. Right now, New York City actually is going to shut down schools for the next month. I heard, and they're going to be closing restaurants and bars where you can't have gatherings in there. Um, Crazy times, guys. Crazy times we're living in, huh? And crazy things being done by the Fed. Oh man, lots to talk about here. It is crazy times, and you can see the Fed and the government panicking. Um, so what we're seeing, guys, the Fed announced they're going to cut the interest rates to zero, launch more bond purchases in a historic fight against coronavirus. Now, many of you who are well informed know this is not about coronavirus specifically, right? The bulk of it comes from after a 10 to 11 year bull run up that was in a bubble phase, hyperinflated, in fact, right? Prolonged. It is popping and it was on its way down. The coronavirus was just the brick that fell right on top of it, right? And it's not so much the virus itself. Rather, they have been printing money nonstop. We all know the value of the dollar has devalued. I mean, going back years because they keep printing and printing. It's just a money making machine, a money printing machine. And what was interesting, guys, is that stock futures hit a limit down, even though they slashed rates, and the Dow futures off by 1,000 points. So the Dow and stock futures didn't react well to this. But surprisingly, crypto and Bitcoin and so forth did see a pump. So if we look at here, the 1 day chart, there was a pump off of it. And it looks like some people sold trying to take profits. I think you're going to see a lot of that. You know, you're going to see the pumps and then all of a sudden some drops. So great to see the Bitcoin move that way. Gold also moved in the green, right, off of that news, and then subsequently started going down. So the hedges against the fiat printing, the nonstop fiat printing, did well here, which is a good sign. That's a good sign, by the way. The market's doing the opposite of what the Fed is doing, right? But like I had said before, there's fear across the board, and there's still weak hands in the market, in the crypto market, that are going to jump out. And there's also, I believe, still those a lot of hedge funds and so forth that are going to take as much profit as possible. But I believe crypto is going to recover because it's on its own trajectory. And I believe it's going to, for the time being, there's going to be a lot of volatility, people taking profits and so forth, but it will, get back on its own trajectory and move on its own steam. So good to see some green. I hope, tomorrow, guys, tomorrow morning, I'm on East Coast time. It's 8:47 p.m. here and on Sunday night, and let's see what happens tomorrow morning. It might be a bloodbath tomorrow, so get ready, guys. And man, this is crazy, man. The Fed, what they're doing, I think you guys know about $1.5 trillion they're putting into to pump the financial system as much as possible. The problem is if this thing doesn't work, I don't know what they're gonna do next, and we might be in big trouble. But I'm glad some of my money is in crypto, right? Something that is not directly correlated to what the Fed is doing to the economy, to GDP, and all that stuff. So it is crazy. Crypto Knight says, Tony, is it true that Governor Cuomo is asking Trump to mobilize the military for New York? Wow, I didn't hear about that. Honestly, Crypto Knight. But man, they may need to possibly do that because New York, there's so many people, there's so many variables. Now, I don't want to get to a point of martial law. That will be something that's a bit crazy. Like, I get, like you're saying, keep people away from crowds and so forth, but if they start going martial law style, I think, that's not good. That's not a good sign. Let's see here. Lil Bougie Skirt says Dow Jones to 17K by 321. Watch. Yeah, Bro XRP says gold standard is coming. JKH said, yep, I sold off one BTC and some others waiting for the carnage to continue. It's going to get nasty. Yeah, like I said in my video earlier, guys, I believe it's going to get worse before it gets better. I believe we will go back down. I honestly think that. I think below 4,000 for sure, in the 3,000s. I don't know if we go further than that, but it all depends what happens, in the economy and around us, right? Because this is uncharted territory. It's a pandemic, so it affects many different aspects of our lives, and people are not gonna. Those who are uninformed are not necessarily gonna be interested in buying Bitcoin. Those of us who've been here long and understand the movements of crypto and how that relates to things that are happening, like, probably a majority of people are like, oh, the Fed, whatever, they cut interest rates and blah blah blah. But what they don't understand is the damage this is doing long term. If not for this generation, the next generation, I mean, unless they completely change the whole system, right? Because this can't continue. You can't keep printing money. This is what those like banana republics and those countries that are ruled by dictators, what they do and so forth. So this is not good, guys. I understand that they're trying to solve the problem, but it's not going to do anything. It may put a band-aid like 2008. The bailouts put a band-aid on the issue. Maybe they put a little guardrails in place, but it's the same old system of printing money and quantitative easing, right? I think that's just a fancy word for we're going to keep printing more money, guys. And that's why I'm happy, some of my assets, my holdings are in crypto, because I have it as a hedge against what they continue to do. Because at the end of the day, the virus is going to come and go, right? As SARS, as bird flu, all kinds of crap did. Go back to the 1917 and the Spanish flu and all that, right? Those things come and go. That's part of life. But what these guys are doing here, it's just getting worse and worse. And the dollar devaluing, the purchasing power, and a lot of this, guess what? You know what this is really doing? Bailing out a lot of the Wall Street big rich people, right? I think we all know that. Like, we're not seeing any of these bailouts, right? When was the last time you got a check from a bailout? This can't continue. But like I said, I'm glad I'm here in crypto, and I can use some of my crypto as a hedge. And I think crypto is a future, and I think crypto will help solve this problem, because we already see the movement of CBDCs. We already see government is trying to adopt blockchain, but right now it is bad, and even the market is not reacting well to it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, guys. Interesting times that we are living in. Vincent Capizzi says last year it went down to 3,200 without a mess. Yeah, well, Vincent, that was the bottom of the bear market, right? And then once we started moving past up from that point, we essentially went into a bull market, and that's natural market cycles. We'll have to see how this moves. This is, we were in a bull market, and now because of this virus and unforeseen black swan event, this is what it is right now. So right now, a lot of sideways movement, even though we had that pump off of the Fed news. Charlie G says, we are ruled by dictators. Charlie G, yeah, if you want to certainly zoom out and put all the chess pieces together and the puzzle pieces, yeah, I mean, we're certainly ruled now. It's different than when the United States, I can speak for the United States, first started, right? So we shall see. Luffy says, wonder why everybody talks about liquidity these days. Yeah, I mean, generally what happens in these big crashes, this lack of liquidity, right? And they have to try and find ways. But um, a lot of cryptos, obviously like XRP and so forth, can provide liquidity solutions. Keep in mind all the money that's sitting dormant around the world in funding accounts, Nostro Vostro, for the movement of money. There's trillions in there. And if something like XRP was to be leveraged, for that type of movement, that money could be freed up. But I don't know if we're at that point yet, right? We'd have to see. Let's see here. Stack and Zerp says JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citigroup, and other major banks suspend stock buybacks due to pandemic. Interesting. Well, I think a lot of them, they met with the White House and the president, and I think they're all looking for their bailouts, guys, just like 2008. Just like 2008. Let's see. Mar says, interesting that a few days ago, Bill Gates left Microsoft just like Charlie D did with Litecoin. Yeah, Mar, I don't think it's anything related. Bill Gates at this point, he's just on the board and he has his holdings and he's rich and many times over for many lifetimes. So him leaving or being there, I don't think that matters to him. But one of the news items, if you recall, I shared what was that he is investing in blockchain and crypto, different things that are being built, which is cool. And we had talked about it on the stream yesterday that a lot of folks who did well in tech and are recognizing the disruptive technology of crypto and blockchain, and they are investing in it. And that once again shows where we're at. That this is here to stay, and some of the smartest, richest people recognize that. So Bill Gates departs Microsoft board, but he's pledging like 1.4 million to African blockchain, and different things going on there. Microsoft is doing some interesting things too. We know they are one of the partners with Bakkt. If you guys recall, it's Starbucks, but it's also Bakkt. I know folks don't generally remember that. They remember the Starbucks because of the branding, but Microsoft is partnered with Bakkt, guys, and that is significant. Here's the news, if you guys remember. So you got the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange. Just think about that. Intercontinental Exchange. They own many different markets and so forth, and they partner with Starbucks and Microsoft. So it says here the new venture will leverage Microsoft's cloud solutions to enable consumers to buy, sell, store, and spend cryptocurrency on a global network. So big things being built there. It says here investors in Bakkt include ICE, Microsoft's VC arm. So Microsoft is both partnered and invested in Bakkt. So I hope it shows you where we're headed, right? And it's almost done very quietly. Like this is making the rounds in the crypto community, right? In the crypto industry, which is very small, guys. We're nothing right now. We're like 1% of whatever else is going on, right? But this is not on headlines on CNN, Fox, or NBC, or whoever else, right? But I'm glad we are here and recognize what's happening, the investments being made. These people are not putting their money out to lose it. They know what they're building and what they're doing. So I'm excited for the future of the market. We got to get through this virus craziness, right? And let's see what the hell the Fed continues to do. But I'm hoping crypto is here to solve a lot of this nonsense money printing machine that is gonna destroy like future generations if it continues. Let's see. Bro XRP says, "Hey Warren Buffett, how's that $120 billion of fresh liquidity powder going for you, especially with 0% interest rates now?" Yeah, man. Well, Warren's in that 1% that probably gets heads up from the Fed himself, right? And what can you say? Let's see here. See if there's any other questions here. I thought I missed one. Sebastian Aldana says, "Are you recommending to sell and buy when it gets cheaper?" Hey, Sebastian, I'm not a financial not a financial or investment, professional. I don't want to give that advice. I can only say what I'm doing. I would never tell you what to do. I personally bought the dip. When Bitcoin dropped to the 4,000s, Ethereum was under 100 and so forth, XRP. So I loaded up on Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Tezos. I haven't bought anything else, but if it does drop like significant, I'm talking like Bitcoin goes near a $2,000 or whatever it is. If that happens, I'll certainly grab some more Bitcoin and whatever else, because the market moves with Bitcoin at this point. Hit the thumbs up button, guys. Please just hit that. Doesn't cost you anything. Help support the channel. Thank you, guys. Uh, Vraj Paz says, "Yo, will Bitcoin drop tomorrow?" So to answer your question, it could. I think it has a high probability of going lower for sure, because once again, it's the fear sentiment. We just saw the pump from the Fed news, right? Both Bitcoin and gold, and the market move with Bitcoin, of course. But if the fear continues tomorrow, like the stock market goes lower than it has ever gone, and people stop going to work and schools are shut and all these things, you could see sell off, because people are like, wait a minute, I need to have cash, right? Thinking, well, hey, I need to make sure I have this on hand, cash on hand, and may cash out some Bitcoin. And then, like I said, if the stock market goes down, you may have those hedge funds and investment firms take more profit in Bitcoin just to make up for their losses in the stock market. The stock market is falling hard, man. Don't get me wrong, crypto fell hard too, right? But there's still a lot of profits that were made, from Bitcoin and crypto than in the stock market when you look at the percentages. Who's this Lele guy? All right, man, you're just being annoying right now. So you're not contributing anything. You're just doing stupid stuff. So, okay. George Lennon says stock market can only drop 10% before they pull the plug again. Yeah, you guys notice like they've been pulling plugs on the the market, guys, when the sell off gets really really tough. It's crazy. David Cohen, why are you spamming, man? What's up with you? All right, gonna have to hide some of these guys. They are just going nuts right now. Chamito, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Crypto Simple says currently in self quarantine at the moment and watching crypto videos. Yeah, I think all of us are self quarantining, yeah, and I've been watching videos too, playing video games, playing my guitar, just hanging out, watching movies. It's kind of getting boring, but it is what it is. Let's see. JKH says you hear BitMEX pull the plug too. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. So what do you guys think? Let's do a vote. Do you think if crypto is going to drop tomorrow, type drop in the chat. Or if you think it's going to go sideways, put sideways. Or if you think it's going to go up, put up in the chat. Let's see. I personally think it's going to drop, but I could be wrong. I'm hoping it doesn't. So Chamito says I sold my XRP at 13. Sebastian Aldana says, what would make you leave the market? I believe in it, but there is fear in the air. So Sebastian, what would make me leave the market? I guess if I was in desperate need of all money, like something life-changing event happened with me and I need the money or whatever it is, that would probably be a dump all my crypto, right, and get the cash. Because at that point, if it's that type of event in my life, I would have to handle it that way. But at this point, nothing is going to make me leave, aside from that, what I just mentioned. I've seen the money that's being invested in here. I see the big players that are investing in here, and I see the government having the dialogue. So just because there's fear at this moment doesn't mean there's going to be fear next year. You know what I mean? Everything moves in cycles. You have these issues in life that come up. Many different things happen, but the cycles continue. That's just kind of almost in nature, right? It's just all cycles, and um, things change. Sometimes they change for the bad, sometimes they change for the good, but you got to go through all the cycles to really do well. So it looks like majority of people are saying drop, or it's going to go down. Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking it's gonna drop, but hopefully not too much, not too much. Some people saying sideways. We'll see. Like right now, it's pretty much sideways, right? It's just moving sideways right now. Um, but I'm here for the long term, guys. I'm there's crypto I have on my Ledger Nano X that haven't moved in like years, right? Because I got it in 2016, and in my Ledger Nano S and my X, I should say. And there's some I have on my crypto exchange, just small amounts to swing trade, not day trade, but swing. Like, kind of like how some of you are saying you're selling now and buy back in at lower lows. Yeah, yeah, I get. I could mess around and do some of that too, make some small profits or whatever it is, or accumulate more. So, we shall see. Callie Marie Marley says, if crypto drops, do you think we will see a Mount Gox with exchanges? Callie, that's a great question. It could potentially happen to the exchanges that are new. I think like Coinbase and Binance and those who are established, the infrastructure is much better now. Many of them have higher cash reserves. Many of them have insurance. You see, Gemini has added insurance, Coinbase, and many others. So I don't think you're going to have a crazy Mount Gox type situation of that caliber, but you may see some of the smaller exchanges that are new. Maybe they're in other countries, right? That could potentially happen, honestly. But the big players like your Binance, your Coinbase, and some of these well-known Gemini, I don't think they're gonna have that issue. Notorious XRP, thank you for the 199 donation. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Chamito says we'll drop to 4.1K. I think you guys talking about Bitcoin. Okay. Let's see. XRP Robert Olson says the economy is being slowed down to insert a new financial system. Look, guys, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but that is not certainly a possibility. When you think about the trajectory we're headed, how long, guys, can they keep doing this crap? Like, keep printing money like crazy. I think I've watched Mike Maloney's videos. I think many of you know who he is, and he does like the breakdown of how the Fed works and how it's like just an IOU kind of system between that and the Treasury and all that. It blows my mind when I watch. I'm like, oh, this is a joke. It's a joke. They just keep printing and printing. I know at the end of the day, all of us go about our daily lives. Those of us in the U.S. and other countries, and we don't really think about that often. But if you do think about it, what's happening? It's a house of cards, man. It's a joke. And this is why when you have these pullbacks now, before when you had market corrections and so forth, they weren't as impactful as this. What's happening now. It's just with the global economy and everything's connected and all the printing of money. It's just we're setting ourselves up for a big problem. I hope we don't head into some sort of depression. I'm not trying to be negative. I want to be optimistic that things are going to be great, but at the same time, this can't continue. I think your gut, your common sense will right away flag that. Like this is not scalable. This is crazy. Douglas Marquis says, "Hey Tony, if they can just keep printing to infinity, why do we have to pay taxes?" Douglas, it is. Yeah, that's a great question, but unfortunately, the 1%, the people who have the money that control a lot of things, pay off the politicians and the way it's set up. I love capitalism, by the way, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not some socialist. I'm not some kind. I love capitalism. I love living in America. I love the free market. But the problem is they've allowed capitalism to be compromised by allowing things like political donations from companies, which at the end of the day, humans are humans, and if you're writing a giant check for someone who's getting money, tons of money in their pocket, they're going to do what you're bidding, right? And companies and so forth are incentivized now with how the market's set up to earn as much money and profit as possible, right? For their stockholders, for their CEOs, whatever. But that system, that setup, and with the Fed, since they obviously dropped the gold standard, it's now all just a money printing machine, and the big banks can do almost what they want now and just crash the economy and get bailed out. They get yelled at. The media says, "Oh, they're bad. They're doing this." Nobody goes to jail. They just get their bailouts, and same cycle repeats. But at some point, they're gonna have to fix it. Yeah, perfect stable Sharpie genius says corporate bailouts. Yep. Greg says, I wonder if we will even see an XRP price rise before mass layoffs. Yeah, guys, I hope we don't head to that point where mass layoffs. That would really suck. We would have to wait and see what happens, guys. Stephen R. Hulston says, I wonder if this is why everyone is running to get toilet paper. It'll be more valuable than $1. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's funny. That could be like an exchange of value, right? Even worth more than probably some cryptos. And, we'll see what happens. Oh, my gosh. Let's hope we don't get to that point. Let's hope this all resolves itself. Let's see here. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, guys, and subscribe if you're new. On a silver platter says, right now it's a liquidity crisis, no Bitcoin or gold pump for now. Yeah, I agree with you on right now, because liquidity crisis, but also people are distracted. They're not going to think about necessarily investing, right? Right now there's a lot of fear. They're thinking about getting toilet paper and cleaning supplies and staying indoors and so forth. So, It is what it is. J333 says layoffs already happening. Yeah, it's happening for certain companies. Certain industries are going to take a big hit. Definitely the travel industry. I mean, they're going to feel it so bad. So that may be where the layoffs initially start with. But we'll have to wait and see. I just hope it doesn't get to that point. There's going to be a lot of people hurting, a lot of people out of work, and you think about, there's a lot of not great paying jobs already here in the U.S., as minimum wage jobs and so forth. So those people who are not earning as much before, they're going to feel it for sure. Some living paycheck to paycheck. But while I don't like bailouts, if they do some sort of stimulus or whatever, stimulus check, and they start giving money to the people, right? Instead of bread lines, you get like a check to spend. But I don't like it, but it is what it is where we're at right now. They may have to do that eventually, but we'll see how bad it gets. Chamito says, FOMO on toilet paper. J333 says, investments are the last thing on people's minds. Yeah, absolutely. Damien Crypto King says, do you think XRP will go down past 10 cents? It's possible. It's possible, man. We will. This is why I'm curious what's going to happen tomorrow when the stock market's open, because it did not, or the futures already did not react well to what the Fed did. So if the Feds, I think this is like their last move. I don't know what else they can do. And if that doesn't work, we'll have to see what happens. Jacob's Ladder says QE, quantitative easing for the people that lose their jobs. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're going to have bailouts for the rich and all these big banks, you better have bailouts for the common man, right? What drives the economy is spending, and what people, spend and that type of thing. And We'll have to see. Torchy Burn says, "I pray I don't have to cash in if I lose my job." Yeah, let's hope. Same thing. I'm in the same boat. I hope I don't have to do that, and I hope this situation gets resolved soon. On a silver platter says, "Don't try to catch a falling knife. Stay off the stock market for now." Yeah, yeah. Just. I think this whole virus thing has to first calm down. I think the panic itself, right? Before you even approach any, stock markets or anything like that, it would really have to calm down first, because the fear will still make things really crazy, as you all know, and that has to be moved out the way. Let's see here. Island deals online. Time to bail out the people now. Enough of bailing out big businesses. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I like I said, I love capitalism, but they've allowed capitalism, and I think it's called crony capitalism, right? Where you get to a point of every people are being bought off and that type of thing, and the people themselves, whether we all agree on something that, well, this should be this way, the politicians and the one percenters do the whatever they feel like doing versus what the people say, and that hurts your democracy. But at the end of the day, I would still rather be here than under socialism or communism. So I just want to make sure that's clear. But we have some things to fix, like fixing the Fed or getting rid of them or whatever, right? So for sure. J333 says, "What would help is a 2-month rent/mortgage forgiveness." Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Or hey, no, don't tax people for like a whole month or something, right? uh, so let's see how things play out. All right, guys, I'm gonna give it another. Let's see, what time is it? Another like 5 minutes, and then I'm going to head out. John Love says the media isn't helping the panic. Chicken Little. Yeah, the media is hyping up a lot of stuff. Bro XRP says it's called JP Morgan capitalism. Yeah, guys, JP Morgan. And, it was interesting to see what happened. It's just weird. Jamie Dimon has a heart attack like just before all this stuff takes place. And, he's been one to trash Bitcoin and say a lot of crap about crypto, while they were secretly, this is the thing that blows my mind, they're secretly building their own crypto. Straight up smoke and mirrors move, guys. Smoke and mirrors. But it was interesting, man, the timing of what happened with him. Then, I mean, you don't wish bad on anybody, but, this is one of the guys that runs the biggest bank in the world, and they do a lot of shady stuff. You all know about it. Like, they'll criticize crypto, yet, they have a cargo ship coming in with tons of drugs and all kinds of stuff, and it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. Let's see here. Charlie G, end the Fed. Yeah. I think it's about time to end the Fed. Let's see here. Little Bougie Skirt says, "Look at the WF papers, JP Coin and XRP, sources of liquidity." Yeah. The World Economic Forum. So I had to actually share that video showing the document where it has JPM and XRP listed as wholesale solutions for wholesale CBDCs, inter and intra bank payments. So very, very interesting. Sneaky bastards, though, man. You got this guy, the CEO, trashing Bitcoin, saying it's crap, and secretly building their own. Very sneaky, very sneaky. But you know what's interesting? The time we live in, because these guys are used to doing that. I've talked about it many times on this channel. They'll go on TV or whatever, get interviewed and put out a narrative, but they're doing the opposite, right? Because that narrative is to fool the public, the masses, whether they're buying in on something and telling the masses, oh, it's stupid, whatever, don't worry about it, right? And then they make their huge profits, or even propping up something to make the public buy something, but they are secretly getting ready to dump or short or sell, right? That's how it's been working, and a lot of the media work with these guys. Like, don't tell me that CNBC Fast Money, they don't have special arrangements with JP Morgan and certain of these people, because at the end of the day, a lot of them are looking for the stories, right? So they want to have a relationship with these folks. Like, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. And I've seen it on many different levels. I'm sure I'm not at that level, but I've seen it in the industry I've work in. And you can imagine, they're not going to trash Jamie Dimon. They're not going to say anything bad. They're going to, Mr. Dimon calls up like, hey, I want to come on your show to talk about such and such. Here's the questions we want to talk about, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I'm going to say. And they run it. And they don't necessarily challenge what he has to say. There's a certain narrative, that they'll run along with, because they want to have access to Jamie to come on the show, so they get more eyeballs on their TV show and to get more ad revenue. You guys know how this all works. Little Bougie Skirt says, the flip of Nixon, we are heading to 1932 crisis. We will see. Chamito says, Tony, are we heading towards a 2008 crisis? It's certainly looking that way because of what, look what the Fed's doing on a Sunday, guys. Right? They're trying to solve this, but I think it's too late. We'll have to see how things play out. All right, guys. I'm going to jump off. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. We'll keep you guys updated. Let's hope for the best for tomorrow, that the markets don't, come out dumping. It's not a bloody Monday, and let's hope crypto reacts in the right way, that, based on what the Fed is doing, and slowly works its way back up. I don't think we want to see any pumps right now, because I feel like people are going to right away dump on it, right? Try to grab some profit. So let's hope we have a slow, steady growth back up. And hope you guys have a good night. Stay safe. You wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.